Hey y'all, I'm Johnny Ortega, the author of The Ordinary Bruja, and I'm here to give you a sneak peek into the audiobook. This is an unedited teaser of a chapter 3. I hope you enjoy. Chapter 3. An icy wind picked up and slipped through the gaps in Marisol's coat. She pulled her key fob from her pocket, her finger hovering over the alarm button, just in case. The cold sank deep into her bones, and as her eyes adjusted to the night, she spotted her car parked at the back of the parking lot. But the figure she'd seen earlier, the one under the street lamp across the street, was back, lingering in the corner of her vision, watching her, staring. I'm going crazy. Grief was relentlessly persistent. It was always seeping in, trapping her like a hamster running endlessly on a wheel, making her see and feel things that couldn't possibly be real. Marisol, the wind murmured, carrying the scent of damp earth along with it. She jerked her head sharply toward the hill. The man's silhouette shifted subtly, then vanished. No, she thought, her heart racing. It's just exhaustion. Yet something pressed insistently against her back, cold, heavy, compelling her to look again. Don't look away. A voice urged stronger this time. Marisol sprinted toward her car, nearly slipping on the icy pavement. The hill seemed closer now, impossibly close and alive, its twisted, frost-covered trees bending forward like limbs reaching for her. Their knotted roots, half covered in snow and dirt, were like dirty boots walking her way. Its slope was hunched as if wary. She reached for the car door handle, but panic made her fingers clumsy as she pressed the key fob too many times, locking the doors instead. Marisol. The key slipped from her trembling hand, clattering loudly against the pavement. Leave me alone, Marisol yelled, quickly scanning the empty lot, suddenly self-conscious. She scooped up her keys and managed to unlock the car, nearly tumbling inside as she scrambled onto the seat. She slammed the door and punched the lock button, breathing heavily as she counted the rapid beats of her heart. What the hell was that? Marisol whispered, peeking anxiously at the hill as if it would give her answers. Yet it remained in its place, ominous, unchanged. Who was that? Who told me not to look away? Her warm breath fogged up the windows, prompting her to start the car and blast the heater. Cold air flowed before warmth slowly replaced it, easing her shivers and calming her nerves. What did Mommy always say about the hill? Marisol asked herself, her voice quivering. The memory came swiftly, clear and vivid. She was 8 years old, sitting cross-legged on the living room floor. Her mother was gently combing through Marisol's curls, her fingers skillfully weaving them into tight braids. It was late. The wind outside howled against the windows. Eso no es una colina normal, Marisol, her mother had said. The hill watches us. It waits. Waits for what? Marisol asked, wincing slightly as her mother tugged on the knot. For the Espinal women, for those who must awaken and listen to its call. Marisol rolled her eyes, squirming impatiently. Yeah, right, Mommy. You're just telling stories to scare me into going to sleep early. Her mother laughed softly, shaking her head. Maybe, pero las historias son como recuerdos. Stories are how we remember. Someday you'll understand. A sudden high-pitched scrape, metal against glass, snapped Marisol from her memory. She froze, eyes widening in horror as words appeared slowly on the fogged-up windshield. La colina nos llama. The hill calls to us. She could feel her blood turn ice in her veins. There were no fingers, no hands, no visible source, yet something had written those words. Nope, I'm out of here, Marisol muttered fiercely. She shifted into drive and pressed the accelerator hard, desperate to escape. Suddenly, the radio blasted to life, nearly deafening her. Static crackled, sharp and chaotic. Then a voice cut through. Marisol. Her name warped and then slipped through the speakers like a whisper tangled in static. Marisol gasped, her hand jerking on the wheel before she managed to steady it and gun the car out of the parking lot. But her mind, spinning with thoughts she couldn't even begin to make sense of, pulled her focus off the road. Instead of turning left, she veered right. God damn it! Her tires skidded dangerously on a hidden patch of ice, and she gripped the wheel tightly, fighting to regain control of the car. The car lurched sharply before she steadied it just inches from entering the obscure side of Main Street. She began to sweat underneath her jacket. She had been avoiding this end for months, ever since her return to Willowshade. Breathing hard, Marisol carefully guided the car down the familiar row of shops, her attention caught by the glowing herb shop. Its front window was crowded with hanging bunches of eucalyptus and dried lavender. The glass fogged just enough to obscure what was inside. A hand-painted wooden sign that read, Yerberia Elvira, in weather script hung crookedly above the door. Marisol could see Doña Elvira standing calmly behind the window, gazing at her with unmistakable concern. Her chest tightened. This had once been Mommy's sanctuary, until COVID took her away. The thought made the anger that simmered right beneath her grief vibrate under her skin. How had Elvira stayed healthy throughout the whole pandemic, but couldn't keep Mommy safe? Irrational, maybe, but the thought clung to her anyway. Kia had always pulled Marisol back from the edge, saved her from herself more than once. Why hadn't Elvira done the same for Mommy? Why am I like this? She said to herself, gripping the wheel so tightly her knuckles turned white. But she couldn't come up with an answer. Marisol eased on the accelerator, desperate to escape. Yet the ice forced her car into a crawl, moving forward like a procession, passing something she'd rather not face. Marisol used to love this side of Main Street, the forgotten shops, untouched by forced cheer. It was quieter here, less traffic. A mural stretched across the brick. It was one of her favorite places in Willowshade, but it wasn't because of the mural as a whole. It was a brown woman with a broom, caught mid-sweep, her gaze fixed on everything and nothing at once. That was what caught Marisol's attention. The woman with a broom reminded Marisol of the shops themselves, unassuming, uncurated, real, living in the mural's margins, just as these shops lived in the towns. But regardless of how much she loved it, Marisol couldn't risk running into Elvira. Still, curiosity pricked her. Before passing the row of shops completely, Marisol looked at the place she had been avoiding, like the mirrors she couldn't face, and held her breath. Doña Elvira stood vigilantly behind the window, her gaze unwavering, and for one fleeting moment, she saw someone else beside her. Mommy? She was smiling softly, her eyes gentle and forgiving, as if she had forgiven Doña Elvira. Marisol blinked hard. No, she's not here. She's gone. Tears stung her eyes and she braked sharply. Still, hope played her for a fool. She glanced again, only to find Doña Elvira in the reflection of her own car in the shop's window. Heat rushed to her cheeks. Mommy isn't here. Get a hold of yourself. God, what are you even thinking? Static crackled through the radio and Marisol jumped in her seat. Before she could hear the creepy voice again, she reached for the knob and turned her radio off. No. She pressed further down on the gas, urging her car forward through the wintry conditions. But deep down, Marisol remembers something else her mother had said about the hill. It was patient, waiting, and sooner or later an Espinal woman would have to climb it. So what do you think about that? Stay tuned for Chapter 4, and if you like what you hear, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. The Ordinary Bruja is available for pre-order now and will be out on November 1st, 2025. I can't wait for y'all to read it.